The Regenerate 90-Day Challenge. In just 90 days, you can regenerate your cells and optimize your body for maximum performance. Step 1. Complete our Regenerate Analyze test. This revolutionary epigenetic test will provide you with a personalized health report needed to create your custom regenerative nutrition. Step 2. Cleanse your body and regenerate damaged cells with our 5-day regenerative fasting plan. Get all the benefits of fasting without the agony of starving your body like most fasting diets. Step 3. Start taking your Thrive Custom Nutrition. Your Thrive Nutrition was created just for you and you alone, giving your body exactly what it needs for optimum health. 3 easy steps in just 90 days. Take the 90-day challenge and make 2019 your best year ever.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, this is Faith. Welcome to the Faith Washington Show. We will discuss life, business, leadership, family, and fun, and what happens when your view of the world expands. A wide variety of guests will provide insight on how they do business, family, and leadership in their lives. So now, here's today's show. Welcome. Thank you, people, for joining us. And welcome to the Faith Washington Show. We are live on Facebook, Periscope, 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, and the iHeartRadio app, WWNN. And I have an amazing guest tonight. Her name is Julie Wass, and she is Coach Julie for Empty Nesters.
That's right.
And it's a very, very exciting thing that she is doing to help women who have actually had their children go off to college, leave the nest, and they're reclaiming their lives. And Julie, thank you so much for coming on because I'm so excited to have you here. The first time I saw her pictures, she's in this beautiful, like bright, I got to show you this picture, okay? Because it's so just freaking beautiful. She's like a ray of sunshine. Okay, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see this really close, but she's in this beautiful yellow, and she's in yellow tonight, and it's amazing. It's absolutely bright and cheery, and you would make anyone feel welcome and at home.
Well, thank you, Faith. Thank you for welcoming me here. Yellow is my favorite color.
Well, I love yellow too. I love yellow and orange.
Orange is good too. That's my second favorite.
It is. It's beautiful. But you know what? Tell us a little bit, Julie, about your business and kind of how it evolved.
Okay.
And your life prior to this business, because it's really, she's got a very exciting and powerful story. And I want the audience to hear that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Faith. My story actually started when I was 15 years old. When I was 15, my older sister, Jane, went to college, and my mother went to bed for 6 weeks. And that was very
That sounds
terrifying.
scary.
It was very terrifying. You know, for a 15-year-old, I was just starting high school. And, you know, it was September, and I'm just trying to get my life in high school, you know, together. And it was very scary. And so I had to take care of the house, et cetera, et cetera. So finally, at the end of 6 weeks, we convinced my mother to go to the doctor. And as it turns out, there wasn't anything physically wrong with her.
So, so in this day and age, okay, because that was a while ago.
Right.
This day and age, they would have diagnosed her as having depression.
Depression, empty nester syndrome. Exactly.
Wait, the things you're dealing with now.
Exactly. So, it had a really powerful impact on me. And later that year, I came home from school, and for like 3 days in a row, she wouldn't even talk to me because she was just really depressed.
And how did you feel about that?
It was, again, very scary. But I made a vow to myself. I still remember the day looking at her and thinking two things. Number one, I was never going to be a stay-at-home mom because I thought that's what happens to stay-at-home moms when, you know, your kids leave for college.
Right.
And the second vow was that when I had my own children, I wouldn't do the same thing when they went to college and when they left the nest. So fast forward, I have 3 sons. They're 26, 29, and 31. And they're wonderful. My oldest son is autistic, so that was a real challenge, you know, raising him. But ultimately, there came a point where my youngest son went off to college, And I came home. And of course, I was very sad. It was very hard for me, and I do understand. I think it's very hard for most women and a lot of fathers too, because you really spend 20 some odd years raising your kids. You put all your love, energy, time. It takes over your life, and all of a sudden, for all those years, in my case, I was either Jonathan, Michael, or Benji's mom. I wasn't Julie. I was so-and-so's mom.
So you had no real identity for you.
Pretty much, because I was so busy with my older son, taking him to therapy and dealing with all of that. And then my other two, they had their activities, and the typical, you're the chauffeur driving their kids to,
Going
and my
everywhere.
kids was music, so their music activities. And your whole life is really about that, and your social life potentially can be wrapped up in your kids' friends and all of that. So what happened was I came home and looked in the mirror essentially and was like, who am I? And I think a lot of us feel that way, that we don't know who we are anymore, because all of a sudden that identity of so-and-so's mom, it's not that you're not their mom anymore, but they're now off in college doing their thing, and it's not your daily thing. And now you have this entire vast time in front of you. Even I have work full time, but I still, weekends, nights, what do I do with myself? And the house is clean and it's quiet.
And so in those moments, okay, in this epiphany of, wow, my boys are gone, I'm free to do some things for myself, but you weren't really aware of self.
Right.
You weren't really aware of, wow, there's Julie, there isn't just the mom.
Right. And I think a lot of
how
people
did
do that.
I kind of want to, like, before we jump in to the business aspect of it, how did that feel to you? Was it scary? How did you feel?
I think the way I would describe it is like kind of unmoored. You don't really know who you are, and you don't know what you want to do. For me, I knew that I didn't want to go to bed for 6 weeks, and I wasn't going to lie on the couch and cry every day.
And feel sorry for yourself.
Right, and feel sorry for myself. I knew that I had made that vow, and I remembered it quite clearly. But I think it's a feeling of sort of you're at a loss. You're sort of like floating in this universe, and you don't really know what to do with yourself. You don't know what to do with all that time that you have that's no longer governed by the school calendar.
Right.
And so it is scary. It's scary, and if you don't have... I had a very, my motivation was my mother and not doing what she did.
It was kind of like, so in other words, it wasn't a motivation of, okay, so there's two things. You either love or you fear.
Right.
So if you're motivated by love, it's a very different thing. If you're motivated by the fear of going to bed for 6 weeks, and you didn't want to do that,
Right.
you were pushed beyond who you are because of that. So where did that land you?
Well, what landed me is I pretty much, so to speak, looked in the mirror and didn't like what I saw. I realized I looked in the mirror and I thought, wow, you sort of let yourself go, because I didn't have time to work out or exercise. I looked kind of dowdy. I used to wear black and brown all the time.
Is everyone
And-
listening to this? If you're female and you have kids and they're either there still or they're gone, I want you to really hear this wonderful woman, because she's got an amazing business of helping people out of that mess. You do not have to go through that. You do not have to live and feel crappy. You do not have to wear black and brown. You do not have to be Benjamin's mom that whole time.
Right.
She's trying to convey that, you know what? Keep your identity. Be real. Be your husband's wife. Don't just be your kid's mom. Put him first, then your kids. Your kids are going to be fine. They're going to grow up and they're going to do what the blank they want anyway. Aren't they, Julie?
They are. They are.
They are. That's right.
And the other thing, too, is, your kids are watching. And if they
Everything
see
you
everything
do.
you do, and you want to be a good example, and let's face it, you may be in your 40s or 50s, or 60s, you still have your whole life in front of you. We don't know how much time we have. And I feel very powerfully that life is a gift.
It is.
And that you have to honor that gift, and you have to do whatever you can. And when I say your kids are watching, if they know that mom's okay, they can go live their life, and they don't have to worry that mom is lying at home on the couch crying every night, wondering why they haven't called.
Don't you think that's more powerful for your family when you're living your life and you're leading by example?
Absolutely.
When you're walking in that powerfully, whatever it is that you are and whatever it is you do, even if you're a mom and you stay at home, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
It's a gift. Dear God, you've been given a gift. So exploit that wonderful gift and say, I get to do all sorts of fun things
That's
with
right.
and for my kids. And then when things shift, then you've got so much more going on. Look at what you've done. You've like created this amazing business. Okay, Fit and Fabulous with Coach Julie. Okay, listen, folks. You want this lady to sit down and have a conversation with you. She's very powerful and she's very loving, and she will get you on the right track. I'm so excited that you're here. So, some of the things. One of the first things that we wanted to talk about is allowing your clients to reclaim or recreate their identity. Talk to me about that.
Well, again, when you've no longer on a daily basis been so-and-so's mom, you really have to figure out who you are. And it's really an amazing opportunity. You can look at it two ways. You can sit on the couch and cry, or you can say, wow, this is my time. This is my time. And
run with it.
And run with it, exactly. So who do I want to be? What do I want to be? Who am I? What have I always wanted to do? You know, the cliche bucket list. But that really is something that you may have put things aside for years. I wanted to do pottery. I'd never done I'd gotten like bad grades in school in art. I was always told I had no talent. But I thought, how cool to put my hands in clay. So I took a pottery class, and I loved it. It was just wonderful. It was very therapeutic to put your hands in clay. But that was something I never had time for. Crazy thing was, going back to the clothes, was that, and I think everybody can sort of do this self-inventory, which is part of my program. It's like, take inventory of yourself, and then take
Agreed.
Inventory of what you always want to do, and maybe make some changes. One of the things that I did was, as I said, I always wore black and brown, and I bought a pair of red patent leather high heel shoes.
Woohoo!
And I
like
wore
that.
them to work, to my day job. And everybody's like, "Ooh, love the shoes." I thought, maybe
started getting
those black and
compliments.
brown shoes weren't so cool after all. And I started bringing in color into my life and realized that, and this is another thing about transformation and reclaiming and recreating yourself, is that the transformative power of color and bright color to affect your mood, to just, look in the mirror and be happy. And it's not like you're dressing for somebody else, it's for yourself. And it's to make yourself feel really good. And there is a real power to bright colors. There's a power to brightening how it makes you feel. So the red shoes became a closet full of crazy colored shoes.
Love
The
it.
crazier the better.
Love it.
I'm wear my yellow headband, but I have other colors too. But
the yellow is just sparkly. It really suits your personality.
well, it's always been my favorite color.
It's lovely.
And the other thing too is mental fitness, and
Right.
getting yourself in the frame of mind. And I think this is where my group coaching really helps, because I think having other people going through the same experience that you are going through, and not being accountability partners, but being accountability buddies, people that can support you and help you and give suggestions and ideas to help you recreate that wonderful person that was always there, and you have the whole life in front of you to rock. And if you are not a gym person and not a fitness person, but now want, like me, I was not a fitness person. I never had time to go to the gym. And so one of the things on my list was running a half marathon.
That's pretty cool.
So I now had the time to join a running club, and now I've run 2 half marathons, and I've run 10Ks here in the U.S. I ran a 10K in Budapest, and I've run 2 in Tel Aviv.
That's pretty awesome.
So
you're helping your clients, if that's a goal that they say,
Right.
hey, listen, this is something I want to do. You've done it. I want to try it too, and you can help them do
Absolutely.
that. I love that.
Or even, it doesn't have to be something that crazy, running a half marathon it's fun, but not
it is
everybody's,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, we know
But even
that.
just getting outside, walking, going to the gym. One of the things that happens when you go to the gym and you don't have support, and I'm not saying hire a personal trainer at the gym, because maybe, that's not part of it, but having people to support you. So you go to the gym and you're all excited. I bought that gym membership. I go in, I'm going to go gung-ho, I get on the treadmill, and then I'm going to do 50 squats, and it all feels good until the next morning.
And you can't, what?
You can't sit on the toilet.
This is a problem.
Because you can't, yeah.
That's a
and you're
damn
like,
problem.
It hurts, it doesn't feel good, I don't think I'm going to do this again. And that's where it really, having the support comes in. And that's how I envision my program. My program, the initial program is a 7-week program. So it'll take you through the process of doing that self-evaluation, that inventory, then deciding, making changes. But it can't be, you can't change everything overnight. So you really have to say, okay, what's the first thing I'm going to do? What's on my list? Make that list. And then as you go along through the weeks, exploring different things, but also one of the things that happens, and this is why I think having this group program and over the period of time, is that human nature it's so easy to just quit. And especially when it's not feeling good.
Right.
And part of this recreation and reclamation of your identity, some of it may not feel so good. Because some of it may be that you're like, wow, for all these years, maybe I should have done something or didn't do something.
I forgot about me.
Right. But that's something you have to deal with, but then you have to decide, it's okay, I'm okay now, and now I'm going to bring me back and bring me back into the equation. So that's why over the course of time is to have the group support, have my personal support, and going through the process and not quitting. And then, because you're not going to get the changes overnight. It's a whole process.
Well, it's a process because it took you 20 years to get there. Or whatever.
Right.
However many years it took you to arrive at that point. And so therefore it's going to be allowing yourself. It's like this receiving of you, of the new you.
Right.
Your next phase of life. And it's kind of this non-judgmental acceptance of becoming who you really are in that power and presence of this moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it does so much for your mental health. And again, going back to your kids are watching, when they see this, they're going to realize, well, okay, mom's okay, and she still loves me, but
mom's empowered.
Yeah.
Mom's a very strong individual. Wow, I can get through anything.
Right. And if you have, it's interesting because my focus is really on women, but there are a lot of men who suffer in the empty nest, but specifically
So
for
are you
women.
helping the men too? If they call you, well, can you help them as well?
I could, but
But your focus is
my
really
focus
women.
is really
Okay.
women because
Okay.
I think women have unique experiences as mothers because for the most part, and maybe not all the time, but we're responsible really for everything for our children.
Right. Agreed.
And it's not a sexist thing. It's
No,
not really
no,
that. It's really
not.
just
No,
a
it's just-
maternal thing.
It's the facts.
It's the
We
fact.
just have to deal with the facts. It's what we do. It's who we are. We're the nurturer. We're the, let's get things done. It's about school. It's about discipline. It's all those things together.
Right.
And because we're present
Right.
for that because we feel so responsible.
Exactly.
And I think then when you jump out of that and you go into that empty nest syndrome, you're really, like you said, you're faced with who you really are.
Right. You feel adrift. It's like just when you actually got to be good at your job, you get
Oops.
laid off.
You get laid off. I'm fired. You're
I
fired.
figured out
Mom.
parenthood, and now I don't have to do it anymore. At least not on a daily basis.
And something else, like you had mentioned the color, but I think that having your own style,
Absolutely.
and doing what makes you as a female feel beautiful, what makes you feel happy,
Right.
Whether it's color, style, fashion. Like for me, I just like to dress the way I want to dress. Not everybody's going to want to dress the way I do. I don't really care. In fact, I don't care at all. I just know I like to look good for me.
Right.
I don't want to look good for anyone else. I want to look good for me. And if I'm happy, then everyone around me is happy.
Exactly.
When you're happy and you're dressed in yellow and you've got these beautiful bright yellow and orange on, your eyes they sparkle. Your picture sparkles. Julie sparkles. And for our audience and anybody out there that, you know what? Pick your color, girls.
Right.
Ladies, put that color on. Feel great.
And that's actually such a great point, because there's so many articles you can read and so many things, do's and don'ts, what you shouldn't do after you're 50.
Blah,
like, I know
blah,
that,
blah.
you know, like, you shouldn't wear glittery eyeshadow. Well, I like glittery eyeshadow.
Who cares?
Exactly. But there's all these messages that come at you of what you shouldn't do, what you shouldn't be wearing, what
Right.
you makeup,
Agreed,
what you shouldn't do.
agreed.
You have to do what makes, and that's where I think I'm hoping that the way my program works is to empower you to say, I'm going to do what makes me feel happy. I want
Thank
to
you.
look the way I want to look for me, not for anybody else, not to please anyone else, because it really does so much for your mental health when, you know, you're walking out the door in whatever you choose that makes you happy, not what your husband, your kids, your friends, what everybody else, because people just pass judgment way too much.
I agree. And you know what? The problem is that the judgment comes from ourselves onto ourselves,
Yeah.
but then also we judge other people. So like when you find yourself out in public and you're looking at someone and you think, gosh, you know, she really shouldn't be wearing that. And I think to myself, you know, I've done that myself, and I think that's just simply not acceptable. Okay, Faith, I don't know where that thought came from, but you need to bring that back because it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit who I am. I don't want people to judge me, but if they do, I don't really give a rip.
Right.
But I shouldn't be judging me because it doesn't make me feel good. I'm not judging anyone else because it doesn't make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So if we stay focused on what makes us feel good?
Exactly.
How can I make somebody else feel good today? How can I compliment another female and say, you know what? Your hair looks great. You know something? You look great in that color.
Mm-hmm.
You know something? You're rocking that dress. Sometimes just one little comment
Exactly.
from someone can make another person feel like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. And that's what we should be doing. Like, I know that's what you stand for, is
Absolutely.
lifting each other up.
Right.
Why
And
else?
yeah.
Why else? Why would we want to be here to do anything else?
Exactly. And I think the other thing that by doing that and having that group support is one of the other things that people battle, and I certainly did it to an extent, is loneliness
Yes.
in the empty nest, because maybe your whole social circle was wrapped up with your kids' friends, and then everybody's gone their separate ways, and all of a sudden you don't have those activities to go to, and maybe your friends or they're not talking to you anymore. Who knows? But it's definitely, loneliness is an issue, and so you're less apt to make that move forward, and you're more apt to sit on the couch and just decide, I'm done.
All right.
If you don't have
and
that.
it doesn't need to be that way.
Not at all.
It never needs to be that way. That's part of what your program is about, is not feeling sorry for yourself.
Right.
Is looking in the mirror and going, you know what? I chose to be mom to my kids. I chose to give everything I had in this direction. All right? And if I did, then right now where I'm sitting, where I'm standing, where I'm living is my responsibility. I'm accountable for it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change it. I'm going to call Coach Julie, and I'm going to call her. What's that number? You know what? They took. Oh, here.
Oh, I have it.
You have it? Give me that. What's that number?
786-796. I even wrote it down myself so
Good.
that I wouldn't remember.
Good.
786-796-8662.
Say it again one more time.
786-796-8662.
And what's the website they can find you at?
Fit and Fabulous with CoachJulie.com.
Love it. Fit and Fabulous with CoachJulie.com. You can find her there. Please, please you know what, guys, if you're watching, because I know I have a heavy duty guy audience because of the entrepreneurial aspect of the show, tell your gals, please have them call Julie because she can really help. And you know what's better than having that long-term relationship make it even better? It lets your gals feel special and amazing because they are.
Actually, I always thought that would be a great gift to
Yes.
give your loved
Exactly.
one. Say, hey, I want you to be the best you can be. Let's sign up for this program, and you go
Just-
have fun.
Exactly.
And
So, you know what? Father's Day isn't here yet. That's not till the 16th. Mother's Day just passed,
Right.
but Julie's on today. So you could always give the gift to your spouse for her to give them some sessions and,
Right.
and help them to be amazing. Just drop dead amazing. More than they already are. We know that they already are. And Julie, just like what a cool thing that you're doing. I'm so thankful and so impressed by your heart and just by the things that you're able to bring to the table for these empty nesters. I mean it. I'm just
Thank you.
so thankful that you came on the show.
well, I'm thankful you invited me.
Oh my goodness, really? Yeah, I can't wait for you to come back. And you'll be on Freddie and Dawn's show, the Brooklyn Cafe, and that's going to be really fun as well. You'll like that. It's very exciting.
I'm looking forward to it.
So give our audience, our listeners, and our viewers something super important that you would like them to know. Something really important, a takeaway for them to just boom remember Coach Julie by.
The takeaway that I would like everybody to remember is that your life does not end in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond. You never know how much time you have left, and we have an obligation. It's like life is a gift, and we really have an obligation to ourselves to honor that gift and make sure we live our best life for whatever time that we have left. Because you don't want to end with regrets, and you
Ever.
also want to be happy, and everybody deserves to be happy.
I so agree with that. That's so amazing. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for
I
inviting
appreciate
me.
it. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. We are live on Facebook, Periscope, iHeartRadio app, WWNN, 95.3 FM, and 1470 AM. Thanks, folks. We'll see you again next week. You've been listening and watching The Faith Washington Show, where we have widened your view of the world. Our guests share their business, family, and fun life hacks to make your world better. Hope you've learned something to apply to your life and business.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests,